You're now listening to the Open Africa podcast with Laolu, Nosa, and Furo. On this episode of the podcast, we have with us some guests. Ojiugo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks for having us. My name is Ojiugo Uche. I'm co-founder and CEO of Genti Media. And I'm joined here by my co-founder.
Hi, I'm Eke. I'm co-founder of Genti Media.
Awesome. So, before we do a deep dive into what Genti does, we will, in normal fashion, like to discuss some industry happenings that have occurred in the...
Should we talk about Eke, but Rise first?
The other Eke.
Perhaps we can start there. So, Riseverse CEO has, or should I say former CEO now, left the organization or has taken a back seat in the organization. And obviously there's some controversy around the reasons why he left the organization, ranging from inappropriate behavior with employees, and there's some speculation around funds moving.
Notice how Furo's voice is low.
Yes. I don't like.
There's speculation about fonts.
Yeah, I didn't hear that part.
But it was like silent, but it's there.
That's an accusation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Personally, because Ike is my guy, I'm compromised. But also personally, I don't believe in workplace relationships.
Yes,
And I've been like this from the beginning.
I can vouch for that.
I believe if you want to enter into a relationship, one person must leave the company. I think having relations with employees is sackable.
Yeah.
Unless,
No.
unless,
There's no-
hold on.
No, a man must have principles.
Hold
No.
on. Unless it's like an enterprise
There's no enterprise.
where you have, you have like 8,000 employees,
Yeah.
and one
Unless
person
it's-
is in finance and the other person is on the
Technology.
streets in technology.
The finance person will be approving payroll. They'll see payroll.
Yeah, but that person, because of
The only
like
way-
corporate governance
the only
and
way-
controls,
the only way
they
you
will
can-
never interact.
The only way you can justify it is if it's like holdco and one person is working in another company, in another building, maybe in another state, while you are working in
For
another
different
company.
countries, yeah.
Yeah, or different countries. Then you can
No,
say
because
something.
there are people that work for the same employer and have never met themselves.
Yeah.
In some companies that are large enough, they've each worked 6 years. They've never met themselves. It's different when it's a startup with 25 employees or 50 employees. Everybody knows everybody.
Stop having relationships with your employees.
And my own, where may I even now draw the line is where you are a senior person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Period. There is no.
But you know the thing is that a lot of founders don't understand this, because I talked to a lot of young founders, and there was one guy in particular. I had to sit him down and explain to him all the ways it could really screw his business.
Yeah.
Engaging in relationships with, and he was like, no, but he was timing this babe. I was like, guy,
No. There's-
focus on
There are
your
so
money.
many babes in Lagos.
Yes.
There are so many babes.
Focus on your money.
Are you telling me you could not find a babe that's not in your employee?
The heart wants what the heart wants.
No.
Yeah. I think that there should be a clear distinction, especially as a founder. If you're an employee, I can even close one eye and say, okay, maybe the heart was what the heart was. But I feel like as a founder, follow the bag, follow the money, focus.
Even employees, I frown upon it personally.
Employees understand. Like analyst to analyst. Do you understand? Like, do your thing.
Graduate training to graduate trainee.
No.
Youthful.
Which, by the way, there's one that I know, graduate trainee to graduate trainee, same batch. I'm happy, he's my guy.
No, still.
We had one in our batch and it scattered.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
exactly.
had two.
Exactly. When it scattered, how did it go?
No, it just scattered.
Oh,
It
see,
divided friendships in the
exactly. Now people will not work.
I know two people, they just got married last week. So, success story.
See, the thing is that it has to be a success story for it to work, because and most relationships
Don't work.
are more likely to scatter than work.
Yeah, but no, sir. If you as an employer enforce that sort of thing, you are essentially anti-people.
So the thing is like, as long as, so I know like
Like
when,
if you say analyst or analyst, no.
so the thing is like, so like when we're at Stanbic,
Please go
if you
and
report to HR, you're fine.
You have to declare a relationship.
Yeah, you
HR
have
will
to-
just make
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
HR will just make sure that none of you can influence the other person.
Correct.
Promotion, appraisal.
Work, workflows.
Yeah.
any of
Exactly.
that.
That's how they end up sending one person to CCC
And one person is head of treasury.
and
It's
one
not
person is
every
head of
relationship
treasury.
you go to.
Wow.
Is it every relationship you go to HR for?
No.
Do you understand? Like,
relationship between employees.
Yeah,
Fling.
no, that's what I'm saying though, right?
Fling
Like,
that
if,
fling
like,
will
if
always end
fling-
up bad.
Will you go to HR for a fling?
See, if people are going to be inappropriate in the workplace, they're going to be inappropriate in the workplace, right?
Agreed.
You just kind of have to
And you have to punish it.
punish it when you find it. And if you get away with it and
Fair
the
enough.
organization
Fair
doesn't
enough.
find out,
Imagine people being
I think if
they
you
are
have really
inappropriate
strong,
on company property.
I think if you that one will happen irrespective. It's disgusting, but
was it you?
yeah,
When we went to La Capane Tropicana for retreats?
it's him.
The things I saw, I was like, people, you don't know that you see them
But
at
to
work
be
on
fair,
Monday.
La Campagne Tropicana is not company property. It's not company property.
But you have spouses at home. And
Look,
you are
yeah.
misbehaving. I remember that's when that stupid song One Corner was trending.
Yes.
And they were doing
Yes.
One Corner.
They're doing one corner.
If your employee and your employees are big colleagues.
See, but I feel like if you have like really strong people and culture policies, especially around protecting
I don't
people,
even encourage
You
people
can-
saving
you can
phone
have
numbers
it.
of their co-workers.
No, you are just rude.
Nosa is actually badly
You're
behaved.
just badly
I need you guys to be aware.
I don't even believe in saving your co-workers
So
phone
how do you
numbers.
reach them?
They
Slack.
call this guy, he said, that's how you're telling who are you, who's this?
When I say who is this when you call me, it's just a reminder that we are not guys.
You know, interestingly, I used to tell my former team that this is not a family. Please.
It is not.
We're a very efficient team, but we're not a family.
Yeah.
Look, I actively encourage my direct reports from not seeking relationships in the workplace. In fact, when I see boy, it's like covenants. When I see boy and girl sitting, I'll just come and separate them.
No comments.
If QA is girl and engineer is boy, I have to switch QA. No hand holding, nothing. Look, jokes aside.
No,
jokes
but wait.
aside.
What if boy is QA and babe is finance?
Okay, in that one, they're not in the same building. But even though, because when QA needs testifies, finance is one that will pay.
And you think finance will just approve what QA is saying? Where is your corporate governance?
You never know. What if the finance person decides to hide it?
And they will just debit
Look,
the account.
look. When people are in love, they do stupid things. Anyway, jokes aside, flings always end up bad,
Yeah.
and relationships are more likely to scatter than they are to work.
And then I also feel like even the kicking with employees as a
Yeah.
I think it's difficult, especially if you have like really good culture, but it's easy to get distracted and carried away. But to a very large extent, I believe, and this may not be a popular position, but I strongly believe that there should be some separation between managers and their direct reports. Like,
100%.
You can't be
100%.
guys like that. You can be guys, but you can't be guys like
Yeah,
that.
like you can be friendly and you can what's it called boost the
I
team,
had
etc.
I had
etc.
a line manager once that would tell you I can come for your child's dedication on Sunday and fire you on Monday.
No, but that one, be like, say she did great.
But
Because I know the person you're talking about, but
I am aligned with that. To be fair,
Yeah.
I
But you
think
shouldn't even be going for the child dedication in the first place. Like for me, I think there's in the work culture in Nigeria, sometimes people
We don't
say,
respect
"Why did you invite me
boundaries."
for your wedding. Like,
Nigerians are sentimental.
Yeah,
no,
my
but
colleague,
just have
not
to
my
wait,
friend.
but it's also a cultural thing, and we have to look at these things in the context of the country that we live in. If I'm your manager and you don't tell me you are getting married, I will have a problem with you. I'm not saying invite me, but
no.
I'm not saying invite me. If
I can't tell you
invite
without
me-
inviting you. Then.
The day you see ring on my hand, the day you know I'm married.
Well, fair enough, because we had this conversation in the office, and somebody on my team then was saying that she doesn't see the problem with like not even telling anybody, like just showing up on. But my own question is, what will you say you are going on leave to do? when you are requesting your
I
leave,
don't understand. You don't have to explain why you're going on
you
leave.
just
Personal
request
issues.
for
Personal leave.
20 and
Yeah.
then you come back.
Yes,
and
I
you
am
come back
married.
with the ring. Me, the only
Okay.
reason why I
No,
invited
Allah.
people was because, well,
You couldn't touch it.
yes, because they had already heard.
Okay.
Then the
Voila.
people I didn't invite were now harassing me. I thought we were guys. I thought I was one of your
No,
people.
but look at this situation, this right situation. It did not have to end like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that guy loves the company and he's very attached to it. It did not have to end like this. Because there was also what's it called talks of he was a toxic boss, blah blah blah. If it was just toxic, there are plenty toxic bosses in Lagos. But that there was a relationship involved now now people now needed to question if there was
There was
favoritism, there was imbalance of power, did he force her into it? It just brings a whole new dynamic that's just not necessary. You don't have to do this thing. When you enter work, off your eye.
Yeah. Seriously. Even a happy hour.
But my own question is, and on this matter of toxic bosses, because I was literally talking to a friend yesterday night who wants to leave where she works because the employer is moving mad. It's a startup, clearly. You know, they're asking for some information and they are being weird about the whole thing. Like the communication is even like there's no communication happening and everything appears to be like strong arming people into doing stuff. The question is, why is it so, I don't want to use the word rampant, but why is it so hard to find startups that people can point to and say, oh, this is just a well-balanced founder?
How many founders were in proper employment before they were founding?
Well, fair enough. I see where you're going with this.
How many founders knew what an HR department does before they were founders?
Yeah.
I mean, most of the founders are young. And some of the founders have not even been in employment before. The startup is their employment. So these guys don't even know what
So
structure is like.
yeah, so I think that then we're in a weird position because you're then hopeful that they realize that they have blind spots and then they get people that will help them like with their blind spots, or they are willing to like go into like that. I think that's where the use of all these like incubator programs and all of that come. It just basically helps you see that the
At least
business is
well-run
beyond you.
incubators,
Yeah. The business is
Yeah.
beyond you as an individual and your vision, because I'm tired of visionary founders. But
Yeah, because it's a fair point. Because one of the things that I know that even the corporate banking guys in my former employer, what they used to run was they used to help all these one-man businesses. Like they used to help them turn their business into well-structured, well-run companies. Because one-man businesses are much like startups too.
Yeah.
It's based on the whim of one guy and how he's feeling that morning. So they used to help them like transform their businesses. But honestly, I feel like many people need to introspect. I can only imagine how tough it is running a startup, and I'm sure we'll hear from you guys. But at the same time too, you can't just go around just threatening people with sack.
Yeah.
Again, if you have not been in employment, in fact, if you have not even, and not just employment, you've actually managed people,
Yeah.
because there are people that come from entry level
Yeah.
and
do startup.
go and do startup.
Yeah.
Those guys, all those companies, there's always one story. Maybe the founder is doing Instagram promoted posts or something. They're always badly behaved.
We don't understand the Instagram promoted post or something.
You have not seen founders doing promoted posts
happy birthday
Oh, for
to
their
our
own.
founder.
for their own
Oh,
account.
yeah.
Happy birthday to our CEO.
Our CEO.
If you just log into Instagram, you see your guy topless.
But you know, I think even like non-startups as well. So I think it's also, even if someone has managed, in what team have they managed? Because people can also be bringing the culture they've learned.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
And I don't have the statistics of, because I've also I've also seen like places which are not startups also have like
Yeah.
problematic bosses or
Yeah.
I think self-awareness, yeah. Everybody should go and sign off. for self-awareness courses, because sometimes people don't even realize that they are toxic bosses. Like I know somebody whose manager thinks that she's a great manager, like she's in love with herself. Meanwhile, all the direct reports are like anytime she says it in the office, they're always like, but it's the sort of organization where people don't have, people can't talk. So
Yeah.
everybody's just tolerating her, and the gap between her, because banking can be very hierarchical, especially if you're like in a Nigerian bank. What am I saying can be? It is very hierarchical, And this woman is just in love with herself. Everybody's like, so that's self-awareness to know when you are a problem.
But I think I think it can go beyond self. Like I'm just wondering, because there are processes you can put in place to mitigate some of these things, like 360 feedback, where direct reports are giving feedback on their managers.
The feedback.
No, but if you have investors, if you have a board, like aren't these things that they should also be advising on and pushing you to do?
I mean, that's true.
They should, but you also have to ask, like, what is the level of commitment of these board members and these investors? Because some people, they write a check and move on. All they want to hear is when you're raising the next round so they can clean out.
Not even profit.
They're just trying to transfer their risk to the next one. Please.
Yeah, so it's a tricky thing. It's a very tricky thing. And you find that some founders pick their board. You notice that if a founder is serious, you find that their board is serious.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
If they want to do the work, they'll gotta pick people that put them on their toes to do the work. If they're just here for vibes, then their board too will be vibes.
And speaking of board, I think that's a good segue
To
the next topic. Still in the region of badly behaved founders. Paypeka. That man.
he was pecking the money.
Okay. I don't mean to dance on the grave of this man, but
He's not
God.
dead in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen.
God.
That story was actually wild to read. Like, it was pretty wild.
I don't even understand how people give that guy money. Like,
He has this thing, domain expertise.
The funny
forget
thing,
with domain expertise.
this
is
domain
that-
expertise thing
is
was
the level
possessed.
is the level of pivoting he has done. There's no focus. It's just tries to be so many things at once. The guy cannot even sell you his business. He's writing thread after thread trying to convince himself. So the people that give them money, anything they see, I think they should just take it like that.
You know what is interesting is that you said something about the guy. I'm not even sure if you recall, but it was a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year, where you talked about people that were shitting on Kuda a couple of years ago.
Excuse me, sir. Do you think I forget my ops? It was one of them. That's why I'm here laughing. I have a very long memory. I do not forget my ops.
And when I read that article, I was like, this guy knows how to head. This is no Kuda.
I will never
man.
forget my ops.
I took that story to the office and I shared it with the devs, because there's one dev in my former team that the guy is a health nut. Like, he does multivitamins, he drinks green tea. And I was telling him that, see, people are shipping entire products in 3 weeks, but they have high blood pressure after. Because again, that was what he had, like his team doing.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The
But
guy-
again, how do you mitigate against stuff
You
like
can't.
this?
You don't give him money.
Oh.
That's how you mitigate it. Don't give him money. Because the people that give him money, do you know here where some of them were like,
I
we
shouldn't have.
knew he had weary, but we just said, let's just try. He has domain expertise. If there's a red flag, it's a red flag for a reason.
And then, but the thing is that, again, I guess this is it. This is where the responsibility of irresponsibility of the board comes in, or the funders come in, right? If you knew he had weary, couldn't you have given him conditions that we're giving you this money, but you must put in place a HR person, the person must report? Do you get what I mean? Like,
Do
you
you
have
know-
that sort of authority.
Do you know the thing about corporate governance is that sometimes we look at banks as being like big and slow, but when you
It's
look
for a
at-
reason.
It's for a reason. So in Nigerian banks, the chief compliance officer reports to the board. I think the chief risk officer to reports to the board. that design is that way because they need that person to not be accountable to just the CEO. Should in case the CEO decrease.
But even Nigerian banks, you've noticed that they've stopped being badly behaved once CBN enforced tenures for CEOs.
Yeah.
So now the owners could not be CEOs forever.
Correct.
So all the bad behavior of the past that they used to do that time, where they'll be renting branches to themselves.
Yeah. They'll rent.
They'll buy branches.
They'll buy the
property and rent.
put a branch there and be paying rent at exorbitant rates to themselves.
Oh, and they'll collect the loan from the bank.
To buy the property.
Owner loan to buy the property and rent it back to the bank.
Wow.
Yeah. You see, a lot of that doesn't happen anymore.
It's a lot more difficult to do some things now. And this is not to say that there aren't badly behaved bank CEOs. I'm sure there are. If you look
They are probably badly behaved, but you can see that
But
the
the
badly
extent-
behaved guys, they have to report to a board because they're not the owner.
correct.
Yeah.
And board is where interests are. Because if you are doing anyhow and you sink this ship, we will sack you before we get to that point.
You know, see FBI when they are fighting between my CEO and your CEO, they are dragging one side of the board wants to install their CEO, and one guy wants to install his own CEO.
It's crazy.
You're very dispensable at that level.
Yeah, I think the summary of all of this is that people need to get serious about like corporate governance.
So the founders, the funders, everybody kind of needs to set up.
Look, me, I don't even mind investors giving their money to to terrible people, because sometimes terrible people can make you money, and that's what you're in for. But shall know that don't let your money lost.
Apart from that, I think that apart from not letting your money lose, don't let them damage people.
Damage you,
People,
employees.
yeah, because like.
What's your business then?
But it's my business, because the thing is like I don't want to name names.
Baba is my business.
I don't want to name names, but people are walking around with scars from
Yeah,
working in
definitely.
terrible organizations and terrible like.
Hello, I'm investing from New York. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know who Nosa Carrier here
Employees.
or Laolu here. Who is that one?
Who's that one?
Who is he?
All I know is I want return.
Views from the top. It's just numbers. So we now have
I'm
70
wondering that-
employees.
I'm
Great,
wondering that
great,
this guy,
growing.
this guy had not hit Series A and he was chopping the money.
It's not even, at that level, it's not even employees, FTE. Full-time employees, just FTE. It's a number. It's terrible.
The guy was chopping the. How many? They said he did how many? 2-3 months in Ghana on company money. Doing what?
Share this other one to raise 50k and had blown like 30k and then started writing threads to apologize on Twitter.
Look,
Samuel Ox, what's it?
my thing is, if you are raising,
I'm sure I just called a wrong handle. If you have to, I apologize.
now they'll sue us.
But there was some guy,
I know the guy you're talking about.
listeners, actors, please.
It's one crypto company, that he raised.
Dominion or something.
He raised money. He raised like 50k, not even a lot, and they are chopped 30k.
Wow.
It's like, for me, it's like, how short-sighted do you have to be? You didn't even wait for institutional guys to
That
come
guy, he
in
has
and
not-
chop it.
The guy has never seen 1K in his life. You now give 50K.
Look, Sharp, personally,
Furo just dragged somebody.
if you want,
Furo just said he had never seen 1k in his life.
I feel like if you want to do this racket, like if the game you are playing is racket, and caveat, not everybody that runs a startup is doing racket. I think pre-seed and seed is where you actually work and actually try to make products. By the time you get to Series A, you start floating your risk, you start selling.
Yeah.
Then you whether they design nonsense or the app is their business. You have to be checking. But pre-seed, you have to be there doing the work. This guy was not a Series A company, and he was going to Ghana doing expansion, and you haven't even launched in Lagos
Accra Fashion Week
Yeah.
without a product.
in Ghana.
Yeah.
Let's even say there's product in Nigeria. There was no product in Ghana.
No, but I think he had a name. I think it was called event-based launching or something.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's like a
creating his own
strategy. Yeah,
strategies.
it's like you launch through an event that you know.
And that's why you launch through an event with no product.
What is this? A bin to?
No, they should be-
Be into.
Yeah, they did it.
Billion.
a unicorn in 2 years. Bin to. They said bin to.
Please,
I think
we're giving these people too much time.
are the worst.
Final founder gist. 54 Gene. Abasi steps down.
This is one I feel bad
Why?
because I feel like it's not his fault. It's not his fault.
So this is the example of a good founder.
I don't know if it's good founder or don't quote me, but from that press release, it sounds
Sorry.
like the real owners of the company collected their company back, and it's like the direction Abasi was going and the direction they wanted to go is not the same. Because he doubled down on all this COVID stuff and testing centers and stuff that would be good for the Nigerian people, from my perspective, like all these diagnostic centers. And the original idea of 54 Gene was
Genes.
some
Genome sequencing.
sequencing. That one that you just collect something and sell it to the white man so he will make new Panadol.
No, that's literally.
Extra effective for Africans.
That's literally.
I think the real owners of the
Take
company
2
said,
tablets made equator for greater impact.
stop there. This COVID was a blip. Let's get back. Because even the CTO and the co-founder left like a couple months ago, and the guy is doing his own. He has gone to fintech.
Yeah, because they launched 7 River Labs, which is supposed to be like their diagnostic chain across Nigeria. And
Sidebar,
things like that.
please. I don't want to do fintech again. After what my eyes have seen this last month.
I'm happy we have non-fintech founders today to tell us about.
I'm not doing it again.
I said
It's the ghetto.
I was talking to them earlier. I mean, I've started dreaming of being a creative too.
I want to be
Because I'm 8 years into fintech. I'm tired.
I'm sick of it.
Yes.
Furo, I'm sick of
The
it.
tech, I'm tired. Yes. But anyways.
But yeah, I mean, they even gave the CEO. Is he head of legal? That's not the CEO.
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't even put COO. And head of legal, I think, was installed.
Yeah.
I think because once you raise like a certain level of money,
You must have head of legal.
not even you must have the head of legal. Your investors start installing certain hires.
Yeah.
So in case
In case
you want to run with their money, they'll just remove it and put their guy there. So I think that's anyway. At this point, I don't think they will ever talk about it or talk about what happened. But from the way it sounds, it was the reading between the lines. It was just difference in vision.
Yeah.
That's very painful, Sha.
I'm
For a
sure.
founder.
Yeah, I'm sure people will chalk it down and say, "Oh, because he married Nollywood."
People have-
It's a turbulent past couple of months.
People have already started
for all
saying
sorts
it.
of companies.
Yeah, but I don't think it was that.
Wait, who did he marry?
He married
Inyebong.
Oh, yeah, Inidima.
Inidima.
Okoje. Yeah.
And it was like a big Nollywood wedding. I'm sure people will say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that he was chopping money there," but I
People,
don't think,
like I literally saw the comments like after doing wedding that everybody had bottle of champagne in their hand.
Yeah, I think what the investors wanted was them to get back on track, and I think he saw this opportunity with 7 River Labs and doing all this diagnostics work, which your government should be doing, but your government, anyway, this is not political.
Yes.
But we should be all over health tech like that. We should be all over supporting
Yeah.
companies like that, because our problems in healthcare in this country are plenty.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can't go there because I was about to ask another question, but that will take us too far into health.
My coffee owners too.
Today.
split. I think
Yeah, but that's when is that tech? That's not
It's tech, Furo.
Okay, my coffee
They
owners.
should not be splitting like
But the
this.
company is still
Problematic.
there, right? Because I like my coffee.
So yeah, so they
One person
split
took the
into
coffee.
yeah. So one person is running my coffee.
And how
And
is
the
it
other
doing
took the
snacks?
mine.
Another exactly. That's basic. But anyways, this was their staff gisting me in the office.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, moving on swiftly to our guest.
Non-fintech.
Yes,
We thank you for being a breath of fresh
the
air.
creatives.
The creatives.
Yes.
It's not every time debit and credit.
Are you hiring? Please help me.
Laolu has done. Is it up to 1 week? I'll be 1 month.
Of
fintech.
core fintech.
Wow.
You know his bank I was doing before. Somebody else had this headache. I've seen problem. I'm not interested again.
Next time when they are talking fintech, you'll be doing choo on the internet. You have seen it.
Me, I don't talk on the internet about these matters. I talk about bank matters. Those are the ones that concern
As
me.
well as-
Currency printing. That's the one that is my problem.
Yes. Yes. How did you not see that? that our fantastic central bank has decided to redesign
No
Naira
comments.
notes.
The central bank is working very hard to ensure
Yeah,
that
that's why I say it's fantastic.
monetary policy
You see,
is.
this is how you know people that compromise. They cannot even speak.
Is please.
Me, I actually think.
Hey, I will
think
not
it's a
take
good idea.
slander. Yes,
Yeah.
I
yes.
think it's a
Yeah.
good idea.
No, it has its benefits.
It has
They
its
want to
benefits.
mop up
Yes, all
all that
benefits.
extra cash that is.
India did it.
Correct.
And when India did it, it drove their digital economy. I don't know if it's the same concept that our guys have, but
It's a brilliant concept that they have, and it will benefit the Nigerian
But-
people. Moving on.
if this is part of how, in fact, look, if anybody is CBN is listening to this thing, please call me.
Please don't.
Let's make Inaira work. These are final chance. Because when we change the currency now, we can collect all that cash and give them Inaira. And they will have no choice but to spend Inaira. And
Are you sure Laolu is the one that's compromised?
me, I'm here pitching
I'm not
this.
compromised. I'm committed to the success of our monetary
Me,
policy in country.
I'm pitching for a contract because we did 1 year anniversary of Inaira. And you see, what's it called? The Interswitch came there to come and lie. They said this is the first CBDC debit card. Their verb is doing Inaira card. And the guy was just there. I was like, you could see everybody in that audience was just lying. Yeah, this is what we are doing to contribute to Inaira.
Yes, as they rightly should.
Can
Because
you
the
top up-
Inaira is a
Can you top up
strong
Inaira
tool
on
for
Cookteller?
financial inclusion.
Can I buy airtime with Inaira on Cookteller?
We are working on
If
it.
they're being serious.
Do you work for Interswitch?
Hello. The Central Bank of Nigeria is doing their very best to ensure financial inclusion and stability of monetary policy in country.
Contrary to everybody, I actually believe in Inaira. I actually think it's fantastic.
I think at this junction we can leave Naira and Kobo and
Agreed.
talk about storytelling.
I want to be able to pay for storytelling with Inaira.
You Naira.
I think, you know what, let's just go.
Yes. So who does us the honor of introducing Genti?
So, Genti, we are an audio media Africa focused platform where we showcase audio stories, audio dramas, podcasts, messages, religious messages, with a focus on regional and indigenous local languages. So we currently have over 1,000 hours of content on our platform in 6 languages: English, Pidgin, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo, and Fulfulde. So currently live, you can get it on the Play Store or on the Apple App Store as well. So that's a bit about Genti.
We launched in August to the public, so 2 months plus now.
Yes.
I'm a creative and I actually have interesting content.
I told them
Yeah,
about
we're
green
interested in
black
that
tails.
website.
Yes, before I
Yeah.
handed it over. Because work was tricky.
So are you
We're coming back.
closer to Audible than you are to Spotify?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I think we're somewhere in the middle. In the sense that, and the way I've said it, in the sense that our content cuts across the board. I mean, so does Audible's, to be honest. But we have our play is we're trying to accommodate independent creators as much as possible, right? So I think in that way we're closer to Spotify than an Audible, because from everything I've seen with Audible, they seem to be very focused on the big hitters, like the publishers themselves.
Yeah.
And then even like their own originals, they have like, very successful actors and the like. We obviously will incorporate some of those, but I think right now we think there's an opportunity to target independent writers, independent creators.
And kind of unlock some of that, opportunity in that creator economy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we had this conversation offline about just like, me, I love the idea because me, I'm a massive consumer of like audio content. And I feel like going the like route of like doing like local languages, I think it will resonate a lot with people that are especially in diaspora, because I feel like those people are typically trying to connect back to the motherland in quotes. And so it would be a fantastic opportunity to like help tell stories that connect people and then also like give hope for this country.
Even
Don't-
beyond
Don't build
diaspora.
for Nigerians. Don't build for people that are buying 100 MB.
No, but wait, hold on.
Build for people that have fiber
Hold that thought.
and 5G.
They might be the way to introduce stuff like podcasting to mass market.
No, don't listen to Laolu.
No, because it is in indigenous language, and
Don't.
it's this thing where, hold on now,
Iroko has learnt their lesson.
Iroko tried to, no, the production cost of Iroko's
Video is
content
different from all
Yeah.
these.
is very different from when independent people are showcasing like their own content on a platform. Iroko was responsible for sourcing and creating their content, were they not?
Yes, but Iroko realized that the people in Africa don't have money.
But they are subscription basis. Are you subscription based?
So we're going to be freemium. So where certain content is supported by ads, and then you also have content that is only available behind the subscription, so you don't get ads.
I see your point.
Is it people that are paying,
I see
that
your
are
point.
doing
I see your point.
overnight browsing?
No, because in my head I feel like there is this divide in Nigeria, and it's why many podcasts are niche content, like even Open Africa, very high quality audience, yes, but we don't have because of the type of content that it is. We're not doing 200,000 listens on every episode.
Why are you revealing our numbers, this guy?
Because sponsors are coming.
I don't understand. Why are you casting us? Please, we are doing 200,000 listens. Don't listen to Laolu. Depends on how you're counting the listens.
But if you had a platform that gave people access to content, relevant content in indigenous language, is why radio still slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, but radio, you don't have to pay for it.
Yes, I think that's
But with this,
where
you won't have to pay for it.
No,
Yeah.
there's no. Is the when I say pay, it's not necessarily the subscription. It's the
cost
MD.
of
is the
Yeah.
how do I say?
accessing.
Yes, exactly.
It's the
Radio, you
cost
just
of
need to
doing
have
an
your.
analysis.
You just need to have that your transistor kini, and you can hear BBC Hausa clean and clear.
Yeah.
But here you need like to have a
Internet.
smartphone.
Yes.
Then you need to be able to afford enough internet to actually stream the audio.
Yes.
So that's why I feel like it's more in terms, because I think one thing that Nigeria has going for it is that one of our best exports is like our culture, our music,
Exactly.
all of that, and it's easier to find a willing paying audience outside Nigeria than it is in Nigeria. Like all these streams that these guys are doing, they're not doing it from Nigerians in Nigeria. It's not Whiskey that's making him fill up the
Arena.
O2. It's not
Yeah.
not Burna Boys people, outsiders that are filling up MSG. It's people that miss home and that want to identify with home. And I think especially like families that gives them that connection to their home base,
Especially
especially
second generation.
all these things. It gives them the connection to Africa, and that is, I think that's a big market because
Yes.
diaspora is a huge market.
I can even see like the future where you guys are then like based on his idea, then like creating the content that these diaspora guys are.
Yeah.
Do you guys have
No,
something
so it's a very good point, right? So, and I think absolutely 100%, like these are all things that we've been thinking about. I think one thing to say, Nosa, like, yes, the most of the streaming revenue that Wizkid is making, right, is not from Wizkid FC, but without the like cultural appeal that Wizkid has because of the people in Nigeria, nobody or like few people in the UK would be listening. So that's I think for us with the platform, that's why we wanted to make it freemium, because there's a user play and then there's a revenue play, right? So with the user play, right, give everyone sort of access to the content for free. Well, discounted MB costs, obviously data costs. Put ads on it, so make some revenue from there. It has like a huge cultural impact, and then right there's the revenue opportunity not just in Nigeria but also in the diaspora, because the pricing obviously will be based on where you're actually accessing from. So what we're thinking of in terms of subscription cost is 1,000 naira, or like, well, less than $2 in Nigeria, but obviously based on the location, right, that number will probably
Which is
go
what
to
most businesses do.
$7, $8, that type of stuff.
So do you guys do original content?
Yes, we've already started.
How
that.
do you do talk to us about like your content strategy? So like original content, if people have content, how do they approach you? What are like sort of options? Yeah.
So right now, in terms of our content, I'll say, we're looking at 4 prongs really. So the first is existing audio. So this is largely from, aid agencies who have already produced great content for radio, But the issue with that is it's rarely available on demand, right? So you have people that have connected to, sugar radio drama, people that have connected to story, and that, and then we've entered partnerships with, BBC Media Action, with MTV Staying Alive Foundation to get that content and provide an avenue for people to listen to that on demand, right? There's still a bunch we're also looking to get. So that's one, Then the second is also and that's where the sort of original content comes in. We've started experimenting with that. And that second is from people with existing written works, which have shown that they have an audience and they are loved. So, we have a story, for example, 225 Katakata Street, which got over 1.2 million views on Nairaland. We've been able to get that content, partnering with the writer to begin converting that into audio that we release every, week. So other story blogs as well, Ebony Story, Young IC, people are reading these stories. People have shown that they love it. Can we bring that on our platform so that people can also engage with it as they're driving, as they're cleaning, as they're working out? So that's the second sort of, where our original content, comes in. We have 5 right now, 1 in Pidgin and 4 in English so far. Then the third, which we are just beginning to experiment with, is like local language content. I have a great aunt who, tells folk tales. Can we get that content? You have people that have stories already. So we're just beginning to experiment with that part as well. And we, that will also be us thinking about how do we penetrate into places, how can people record themselves at low cost with smartphones and things like that. And then the fourth is podcasts. Again, those are also existing audio content. And to be honest, we're still, figuring out how that plays into everything, just because the current podcasts, people are already listening to them on Spotify, Apple Podcast. But we've, invited we've been able to get some people who it's like, can this be an additional platform for your content? And let's see where it goes. So, yeah.
After this, I'm going to play something from a couple of years ago.
I remember that story. Yes.
Okay. I feel like
Laolu is trying to sell his market.
This is my tribe. This fintech thing is just situation.
This is what I was saying
condition.
Before you guys got here, that's what I was telling you. I was like, me and you can relate. Nosa do read payment books and
Nosa read payment blog, tech blog.
Yes.
But it's a very interesting idea. Very interesting. I still feel like Nosa is saying don't focus on diaspora, but I still think that there's, because it's interesting when you talked about I remember being at home. I was maybe under 10 and someone was playing radio and there was one of these stories that was playing and I could hear it from our compound and I was invested in the thing. It was like an entire story with even sound effects to mimic stuff. And that was when I found out that there was an entire world out there of content like that people were consuming. So even if it's for that leg, like on demand alone, making it on demand, I think that's a strong play. There's also this guy that's Yoruba people who lived in Lagos in the 90s and early 2000s will know this show, Nkombe. It was by Kola Olawi. And I know his son. I talk to his sons and I've been telling them to bring that content back because there is a vacuum. And back then it was hot because the guy was covering like paranormal stories in southwestern Nigeria. Oh, wow. And it was a ritual where people are running home after church because it would air at like 2:30 on OGTV and LTV and all these other stations. And when he passed, like that was like the end of that content. Making it on demand.
Exactly. We'd love to have that.
I think it's a really strong play. I'll do the intro.
I told you.
I'll do the intro.
It's lighting up.
I'm telling you.
I told you.
This fintech thing is just condition.
It's condition. It's how man goes do.
When we are talking about MSC and payment processing,
he's not this excited.
Laolu is not this excited. No. Then you say content, wow.
No, but yeah, like having stuff like that on demand can appeal to a certain demography. Like I know even some people in my parents' generation that if you tell them download this app, pay 1K a month, and you can listen to old incumbent content,
Yeah.
they will pay
Yeah.
to listen and just have it.
Would you guys, or do you guys do church stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
They already have churches on there.
And we are also
As soon as
hopefully
the-
we'll be able to get very soon, fingers crossed, also audio Bibles in over 7 Nigerian languages.
As soon as this guy said what's it called, old people, I just remember old people like church.
They have
Yeah.
Life Points and this.
But I have to say, like, trying to get licenses from churches is
Tough.
tough. Like, and because I think they have a good understanding that what they have is precious and like, there's opportunity to make money. But I think there's sometimes when you come, especially young people come and say, "Hey, we want to do this for you. We think it will be mutually beneficial." They begin to get like a bit skeptical.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we found challenging, which is actually dealing with. I mean, if you folks have actually been very gracious and like, they're not even asking about like royalty split. They're just like, yeah, take the content.
Yeah,
But
because
for
if
some
it's
folks-
religious content, you would think that they should be open to it going as far and wide as possible, especially when they have other major revenue streams.
Exactly.
Like, how much do you want to make from this that can compare to a Sunday service
People that are
where
selling
people
the
are paying
cassette
tithes?
after church are talking about they should care about spreading the word. Calm down. I think I think our church content is the thing with churches in terms of as far as media and tech. I think churches are always ahead of the curve compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
So they would have to structure in terms of
give
like
you
to give
content.
you the content. It's now if they want to give you because they're fiercely independent
Yeah.
and like to have as much control over their distribution as much as possible. From what I know.
My only thing is, and I think we spoke about this earlier, is please, we need more content that will give people hope outside of church. I don't have nothing against churches. I just think that we need to get to a point where we're telling stories that remind people that Nigeria was a country where people enjoyed their lives at some point, right?
I think this is
And
Uche
it's sort of
talking to Furo.
In the
That's what she was caring about investors, talking about employees.
wait.
You're getting soft. Yeah, talking of hope.
No, but we need hope.
Please, I mean, need hope outside
Things
of
are
church.
tough.
Yes.
Things
Yeah.
are tough. Our price car, just before we started recording this episode, my car locked on the road.
Oh man.
I'm pricing car and it's not funny.
Is that person that DM'd us? That's
I need
so funny.
hope.
As you are damaging their business, they're damaging your car.
Anyways, so in terms of like, if there's anything, because we're trying to round up now.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want, what's the one thing that you want people to know about Genti? Like your, like not elevator pitch, but like something along those lines. Like, what should people expect? And I mean, we will share your socials and all of that.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah.
So come to Genti, to listen to have a one-stop shop to listen to any of your audio needs while you are commuting, while you are cooking, while you are cleaning. Do you want to listen to a romance story in the morning, the Quran in Yoruba in the afternoon, and round up with, another pigeon story in the evening? Come on Genti to do just that.
Late. Sorry to take us back, but I just realized that while this episode was going on, someone shared a tweet with me on Twitter where someone said, your co-workers are not your friends, do not have them on your real social media, don't share your personal business with them, definitely don't have sexual relations with anyone you work with. 9 out of 10 on any given day, they will throw you under the bus with quickness. Just to recap the episode.
It's just a side note on that. See, there was one of my reports that traveled, and another person that was not in my department started sending me an Instagram pictures that, is this what this baby is doing? And I was like, it's fine, I approve the leave, it's okay. You have ops in your workplace.
Yeah, you actually do.
People are weird.
But anyway, back to Genti. I mean, are you, because I know we have like a very vibrant, creative, like, Ake
Yes.
Festival has been big for like a couple of years. You guys are in tune with those, because I think that's like a minefield of
content.
content.
and creators.
Yeah, we I mean there is also a lot of sort of in the book and publishing industry, a rich, space there. But right now we are sort of building up to that. First looking at independent story writers, just to also build our portfolio before sort of tackling like such major long form work.
You guys should get like a Chimamanda exclusive.
Yeah.
Audiobook.
We have something. We have something potential in the world. We can't say which author. So what it is it's serialized content from pretty big name author, and we're trying. The plan is to get someone from Nollywood, a young actress to narrate, and the content will be we'll see if we can premiere it exclusively on our platform, but it'll probably be available on other platforms as well. But so yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
That'll probably be a New Year surprise next year.
I'm personally very excited for you guys. I know like it took a while before Nosa and Laolu came here. And I was happily chatting away about everything that you guys are doing. So
I
like,
apologize now.
no, I'm not.
Can't break down.
Is Secret Lives of Baba Segi's was on Audible?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Is he a Nigerian person or a white person as narrator?
I can't. Well, I think it's the author. I think Lola Shone actually narrated it. If I remember correctly.
Don't worry, I know plenty independent writers. They are not big, but some of them have promise. Let's talk after this episode.
Definitely.
Okay, definitely.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank
you very
you.
much.
Awesome having you on the podcast today.
Thanks
For
for
having us.
We'll catch you guys on the next episode. I mean, not you guys, like listeners, you guys on the next episode.